Hello lore fans to another brand new episode of Quick Lore. This episode we're going to be exploring the history of everyone's favourite god of chaos, Zamorak. As always, this is Quick Lore and it's designed to condense Runescape's many years of lore into little packets of information. In that vein, I'll be touching on the big moments in Zamorak's history, but I won't include every little bit of detail. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get going. While Saradominists decry Zamorak as the embodiment of evil, he technically stands for chaos, and to a lesser extent, power and destruction. This impression of Zamorak as evil stems from the fact that for a long time, the only literature referring to him was biased Saradomin propaganda, and how most of his followers are considered to be stereotypically evil. No one looks at demons and vampires and thinks, gee, don't they look like virtuous souls? Zamorak believes that order and structure only serve to cause stagnation within a race, and that the only way to continue to grow as beings is to have constant chaotic pressure placed upon you. I kind of see this as akin to natural selection in the real world. The Earth is a chaotic place and animals either adapt and improve or die. That's not to say that I agree with Zamorak, I just kind of see where he's coming from. He likely developed this attitude growing up on Freneskae, which as we know was a world ruled by perpetual fighting and the constant threat of being obliterated by Ma. I'll explore the Elder Gods in another video though, don't worry. On Freneskae, Zamorak and the other Majorat had to constantly be improving themselves lest they die. Zamorak is against pointless violence, but isn't above mass genocide if he deems it necessary, like destroying the whole of Ferintri that time. We'll get to that later though. His symbol is a pair of demonic-looking horns. As mentioned, Zamorak was a Majorat raised on Freneskae. He arrived on Gielinor when two Kharidian demigods, Icflurin and Amskut, travelled to the planet hoping to recruit soldiers to help them in their war against Zaros' invaders back on Gielinor. Seeing the opportunity as a chance to get away from his hostile planet, Zamorak and scores of other Majorat joined the Kharidian army. In the war, Zamorak proved what a powerful warrior he was, and quickly rose to becoming a warlord known as the Scourge. As it often goes, Zamorak wasn't comfortable for long. The war ended when a Majorat known as Sliske convinced the Kharidian-aligned Majorat to betray their leaders and defect to the Zarosian side. Among these was Zamorak, who assimilated well and soon rose through the ranks until he was given only the most important missions. One such mission was led by Zamorak to raid a barbarian settlement. They were attacked and one of his party, a creature known as Char, was captured. Char is from a race known as the Uspa, and when she awoke to see several of her kin being used and abused, she grew angry and started a counterattack. Zamorak used this distraction to steal a magical diary owned by another member of his party, a man known as Perjor, who acted as Zaros' chronicler. The book converted Perjor's thoughts into writing so that Zaros could track everything that was happening on the missions. Zamorak took this book for himself and replaced it with a fake version of the diary that provided only misinformation to Zaros, meaning that Zamorak could begin to plan his coup and build up his army of deserters without his leader becoming aware of it. Zamorak's betrayal of Zaros began when on yet another top priority mission, Zamorak turned on Char, stabbing her with a poisoned dagger. The poison was not intended to kill Char though, only to incapacitate her long enough for Zamorak's plan to unfold. Because of the fake book, Zaros remained unaware of this betrayal. At around the same time, a human loyal to Saradomin known as Valders came into possession of the Siphon, otherwise known as the Staff of Armadil. This was stolen from him by a thief known as Renard, who sought to sell it to the highest bidder. Figuring that Zaros might be interested in such a powerful item, Renard confided in a messenger known as Karim and asked him to inform Zaros that he was willing to sell. However, Karim was actually loyal to Zamorak. Naturally, the god of chaos then scammed Renard, paying a pittance for the artifact. It's unconfirmed, but some scholars also think that Zamorak offered to trim Renard's armour. Also, at some point, Zamorak managed to obtain the Stone of Jazz, but it's not clear when or how this happened. Zamorak and his forces initially attacked Zaros and his army, but were on the edge of being defeated when Zamorak proved to not be a match for Zaros' godly powers. During the battle, Zaros got impaled on the staff, which, possibly by random luck, siphoned off some of Zaros' power and provided it instead to Zamorak. The staff then began to deplete Zaros' power until, on the verge of death, he abandoned his body and fled, incorporeal, to a distant dimension. Zamorak stood victorious, or should I say he fell exhausted. The Battle of the God had severely weakened him, so some of his demonic generals escorted Zamorak away to their realm of Infernus, where he could regain his strength and fulfill an earlier promise of overthrowing the cruel overlords there. That agreement is what led to the demons turning from Zaros to Zamorak in the first place. The now god of chaos honed his powers on Infernus for over 20 years, finally returning to Gielinor looking to regain possession of the Stone of Jazz. When he found that Saradomin had hidden it, war broke out. I've mentioned the God Wars over and over and over again in previous videos, so it seems redundant to go over it again. I'd recommend watching my videos on the other gods if you want to know more, but essentially the gods were fighting for power. The war ended when Saradomin, Armadil and Bandos managed to corner Zamorak and his forces in an area known as Freneskae. Zamorak tried pleading with the other gods, explaining that he wanted mortals to be free to make their own mistakes and grow stronger away from the influence of gods. They didn't go for this, however, and as one final act of defense, Zamorak used the stone to destroy Freneskae and all of its inhabitants. The gods survived, but no mortal made it out alive. Guthix, who had been asleep throughout the fighting, awoke and created his edicts which banished all gods from Gielinor. Zamorak fled and buried himself at the bottom of Demonheim, which was apparently just outside of the dimensional boundaries of the planet. I don't know. There he began to influence his followers on Gielinor, eventually obtaining the allegiance of a half-Majorat, half-human known as Moya. We all know the story. Guthix's cave is found, he's murdered by Freneskae, the edicts are ruined, and gods can return to Gielinor. Zamorak returned through a portal near Lumbridge and began to destroy the forest, seeking to gain a hold over the divine energy that was underneath. Saradomin appeared to stop him, and the two warred for weeks. Eventually Zamorak was defeated, but before he could be killed by Saradomin, Moya appeared and teleported her god away to safety. The next bits include spoilers for several quests, namely Missing Presumed Death, Dishonor Among Thieves, and Children of Ma. Watch at your own risk. During Missing Presumed Death, Freneskae invites the gods to his citadel and informs them that he's ascended to godhood. He also announces that he's running a competition. The god who can slay the most gods before the next solar eclipse will be the winner, and their prize will be the Stone of Jazz that Freneskae now has possession of. Not willing to bother with the competition, Zamorak recruits the adventurer to help steal the stone from under Freneskae's nose. This happens during Dishonor Among Thieves. The team assembled by Zamorak includes the adventurer, Moya, several other Zamorakian followers like Jared the Werewolf and Lord Aquarius, leader of the Black Knights. Also on the team is the mysterious battle mage known as Nomad. When the team arrive at the stone, Nomad betrays them and attempts to take a shard of the stone for himself. Zamorak arrives personally to stop this, and Nomad escapes. The God of Chaos also uses this as an opportunity to touch the stone and regain some of the power that he lost during his defeat at Lumbridge. During the Children of Ma quest, Zamorak returns to Freneskae and begins another scuffle with the now revived Zaros. The two start off fighting, but in the end agree to a pact that would see them working together to defeat Freneskae. There you go, that's all the important history of Zamorak. What do you think of him? Personally, I feel like he's one of the more interesting, nuanced gods, but I still don't support him. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Also, if you enjoyed the video, then please give it a like and subscribe. I've been Vamoria, thank you so much for watching.